All right, what we're going to be talking about for the next few minutes is dredge teasers and how to choose the right dredge teaser for your situation. Not all dredges are right for every situation. When I say situation, I mean your boat, the size of your boat, your crew, your spread, how you're going to pull this dredge. All of these factors come into play when selecting the right dredge. There are several different dredges to choose from. We have dredges for every size boat that there is. So you have to, give this a lot of thought before you just go buying, any dredge that you see hanging in a tackle shop. It looks great hanging in a tackle shop, but is it going to work well for you and easy for you on your boat? Now, before you get into selecting which dredge, you've got to start out figuring out how you're going to pull your dredge. If you're on a 50, 60 footer, okay, the riggers that are on that particular size boat, they all have spreaders on them. They're quite substantial. They can really handle any size dredge teaser. If you're on a smaller boat, like a center console that has the T-top type riggers and whatnot, those riggers are not going to be able to handle the weight involved with a dredge. Keep in mind, the dredge is one thing, but you're also going to need weight to keep it down. All of this creates a lot of strain on the riggers. So in that situation, you've got to decide how otherwise you're going to pull the dredge, since you can't use your riggers. Now, you've got some options. I mean, the simplest option is pulling it off a stern cleat, which keeps it's the easiest way to do it, but your dredge is left in the prop wash, which is not the most ideal location for a dredge teaser. If you're not going to pull it from the stern cleat, you could pull it from a downrigger setup. That could work fine for you. If you wanted to, you could pull it from a teaser boom such as this. All right, very easy, simple and whatnot, just goes in one of the rod holders. Or you could pull it from a dedicated dredge rod, something like this. These are all things that you have to think about before you go out and buy any dredge that there is. So now the next segment, we're going to get into which dredges work for what size boat in your different application. The first dredge we're going to be talking about is our bucket dredge. It's lightweight, easy to handle, but very effective. As you can see, it's triple tier, 6-arm, has 21 baits on it. As I said, it's lightweight, easy to handle, and it can be pulled from either a stern cleat, a dredge rod, it can be pulled from a teaser boom, just about anything. But with the amount of weight that you're going to have to put on it to keep it down, most likely you're not still going to be able to fish it from one of your riggers on a small center console. Now on one of the bigger boats, a 50, 60 footer, you're not going to be pulling something like this. It's not that it would not be effective, it's just that when you're on a platform such as a 50, 60 footer or whatnot, with a 16, 17, 18 foot beam, you're not taking full advantage of what you have. So as I said, this is the bucket teaser, easy to handle, and it can be pulled from any center console. Okay, the next dredge I'm going to show you is a small double tier 6-arm teardrop dredge. And that would be this one right here. All right? And this one happens to be rigged with squids. All right? The bucket teaser that I just showed you, that was rigged with our 3D stick baits, the 9-inch ballyhoo. This particular dredge rigged with the squids, it's pretty heavy, but again, much like the bucket teaser, you can fish this from a stern cleat, again, a downrigger, dredge rod, teaser boom, or something like that. You're going to have to, again, add weight to this, so again, it's not going to be able to be pulled from a rigger on a center console. It's quite easy to handle, and it's very effective. Okay, this is a triple tier dredge, triple 6-arm, that has 31 of our split tail mullets on it, and each one has had the flash scales applied to it. I wanted to show you this particular dredge because I want to point out the weight, where the weight is in this. As you can see, it's located in between the first and second tier. Now, there's a couple of different options you have as far as adding weight to the dredge. As I mentioned before, you want your dredge below the surface. In order to do that, you have to put weight someplace. This is a 6-pound fish weight, rubber-coated fish weight, where your teaser line will be attached right here. This would be attached to the front of your dredge. All right, that's one option. Okay. The other option is taking a dredge such as this, okay, and having it inside the dredge. Now, what's the difference and what's the advantage? Okay. Now, the advantage to having the fish weight such as this, when you clear the dredge, that gives you something to pull on. Okay. You can grab that thing and pull that dredge and do what you have to do with it. Okay. The problem with that, though, is it just seems unnatural to me. And I'm a big fan of trying to keep your dredge as natural looking as possible. Now, when you look at a natural bait ball, there's no leading fish, such as what you would have with this type of a fish weight, okay? They just don't have that, right? The weight set up like this, as you can see, it's hidden inside the dredge, okay? Now, that gives you a more natural appearance because it doesn't have that leading fish, all right? The other option, not option, but the other advantage to having this weight inside the dredge is the fact when you clear the dredge, whether you're fishing it from a rigger or whatever, it enables you to get the dredge out of the water another 1.5 feet by not having that fish weight in front of it, okay? Another thing about dredge teasers at this point, I just want to mention the fact that when I say I like a natural dredge, again, bringing up what a natural bait ball looks like, they're all the same color, they're all the same size, they're all the same fish. So, as far as mixing your baits and whatnot, you know, a lot of people want to put mud flaps, they want to put dredge heads on it, they want it, you know, this color, that color, and this and that. It just, to me, takes away from the natural appearance of a dredge, or the natural appearance of a bait ball. All right, now when you get into the larger boats, you can certainly pull the larger teasers. This is something that you cannot, and I wouldn't recommend pulling on a small boat. You know, the other thing you have to keep in mind with a dredge teaser, besides being able to pull it, you have to be able to clear the dredge, you know, once you get a fish on. Now some of these dredges, such as this, you know, you have to decide where you're going to put it, you know, when you're clearing the lines. You know, most center consoles, you know, just don't have the room to get this thing out of the way. They don't have the riggers to be able to hang it from. On the larger boats, you can take this dredge and you can actually, you know, retrieve it and have it hung from the riggers and just let it sit there. I mean, this thing's pretty heavy, but this is all rigged with the 14-inch split-tail bonito. Right. Now again, you're going to have weight to even keep this down. When you're picking out your dredge and what you want to do, besides how you're going to pull it, you've got to keep in mind where you want to position it in your spread. Now with any dredge teaser, there's a couple of very, very important factors. Number one, it has to be below the surface. It can't have any of the arms popping up or breaking the surface at any time. Now, how far below the surface makes no difference as long as you can clearly see it. You want to position a dredge where, as I said, it's below the surface, but at a point where you can see when fish come up into your dredge. So you don't want to have it so far down you can't see what's going on with it. That's a mistake that a lot of people make with dredges when they're first getting started. They put them too deep and they put them too far back, so they can't see it. You know, all day long when they're dragging this thing, fish are whacking at it and so forth, but they never know it because they can't see it. So you want to be able to position your dredge pretty close to the boat, inside your shortest baits, your flat lines and your short rigger and so forth. And the other thing is you want to try to keep it, if possible, in the clear water and out of the prop wash. Now, if you're fishing this from a rigger and so forth, that's not a problem. But if you're on a center console and you're pulling this from a stern cleat, you're going to most likely have this thing in the prop wash. Now, you can't see it that well in the prop wash. The fish are not going to have any problem at all seeing it. I mean, that's just the way it is. So these are a couple of things you have to keep in mind, you know, again, when you're trying to select what kind of dredge is right for your boat. Okay, the last dredge I want to show you is our Easy 6 box set. The Easy 6 is a collapsible dredge. Now, in this standard flambeau tackle box, we have a 30, a 24, and an 18-inch 6-arm dredge rigged with the baits on it. See, it just all pops right out, just like that. Just grab the top one. You're going to just open it up, spread it out, and lock those arms right up. Just like that, okay? And we're going to open the second tier the same way, and just lock that up. And then we're going to do the same with the bottom tier. All right, this is a triple 6-arm, has 31 baits on it. It's rigged, ready to go. And just as I did with the previous dredge, you can put your weight inside or you can put your weight ahead of it or whatever. At the end of the day, with this particular dredge, all you have to do is just clean it up, wash it up and so forth, okay? Dry it off and then just close it and put it right back in the same box that it came in. As you can see, with the 30, the 24, and the 18, it's a pretty substantial dredge. And it gives you a lot of coverage, and it gives you a good bait ball. One of the last dredges I'm showing you here is one of our teardrop dredges. It has the free swinging arms and so forth. It's 36-inch 6-arm, and it has 13 particular baits on it, which are our split-tail bonita. But I wanted to point this out because of the dredge heads. I mean, we sell dredge heads. Dredge heads are $15 a piece, okay? I happen to think that, you know, it's not the way to go. There's rigging involved with the monofilament, the crimp, the loops, the whole bit. It just doesn't look natural, though. You know, as I said before, you know, I'm a big fan of trying to keep your dredge teaser as natural looking as possible. Okay, of all the dredges that I've shown you here today, you can see they're rigged with the 3D stick baits, they're rigged with the split-tail mullets, the split-tail bonita, squids, we have dredge heads and so forth. All of these are interchangeable, okay? And as you can see with the 3D stick baits and the rest of them, they're clipped right onto the dredges. There's no rigging involved and whatnot. You know, some of these dredges that you see in the stores and whatnot, they'll have 3 or 4 squids, you know, rigged in a chain. That's a lot of rigging involved and so forth. Which means that if you lose one strip or whatever, you're going to have to do all the re-rigging to get this thing back in operation because you don't want it out of bounds. With these baits, whether it's the 3D stick baits or whatever, they're all clipped on one at a time. There's nothing fancy about them. It's quick, easy, and simple.